Welcome into Titans Today. I am Tom Downey. We have an early morning trade for you guys. DeAndre Hopkins is being shipped out of Tennessee. He is heading to the Kansas City Chiefs. Some details, still a little bit murky on the finer points of this deal, but the gist of it is the Titans are getting a conditional pick that's either going to be a 5th or 4th rounder. NFL.com saying 5th that can turn into a 4th. ESPN kind of pushing more of the 4th. So until we figure out and learn what the exact conditions are, it's a little uncertain which one it's likely to be. But it's going to be a mid-day 3 pick heading to the Titans in exchange for Hopkins. Sounds like Tennessee will also be eating some of the contract as well. Again, don't know how much they're eating, but that's fine. You were planning to pay him already. If it gets you a better draft pick, that's probably worth it in the end. It is an at-home video. The one day my daughter doesn't get up before 7 a.m., the Titans make a trade. So fitting how that works out there. So make sure you guys are subscribed. We'll break this down in depth. We'll have the fallout for you here as well on the channel. So make sure you guys are subscribed. It's free. Hit that sub button for me right now. So Tennessee begins their selling, which I don't think comes as a surprise to really anybody at this time. Selling at this point in the season makes sense. It's a logical move for Tennessee. They're off to a slow start. Will Levis has not looked particularly great. You do trade away Hopkins. That does limit potentially, what you're able to do in the passing game. But he had 1 catch for -2 yards last week with Mason Rudolph on the ball 40 times. You need to get Calvin Ridley going, more importantly than anything, since you paid him big dollars long term. So I am not surprised to see Hopkins. We talked about this on Monday, that I'd kind of reached the point of, okay, let's go ahead and do it. Whether it's now or trade deadline, it's fine, but it makes sense to trade him away. It makes sense to make that move and start the continuation, I should say, of the rebuild. The timing's interesting. Wednesday morning, very early, especially for the Central Time Zone, which is always something. To not have it go down with Cooper Kupp available too, I thought was pretty interesting. But I think Hopkins fits really well with the Chiefs. They don't have that bigger body outside wide receiver right now. Xavier Worthy's a burner. Hopkins fits the Chiefs super, super well. So give me your one-word reaction to this trade. It'll be the pinned comments, by the way, on today's video. So if the ad comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know one-word reaction to this move. My one word is logical, expected maybe, unsurprising, whatever buzzword needed even. You're not a contender this year. So retaining a player like Hopkins, a veteran wide receiver who was probably not going to be back this upcoming offseason, you get him for a guaranteed pick so you can still spend money, not worry about the comp pick formula, whatever. That stuff makes sense. I don't really have that many complaints with how Tennessee has run their organization since Ran Carthon and took over with Brian Callahan and Mike Vrabel got fired, which I didn't like, but whatever. They've made, I think, mostly good moves. Now, they haven't all worked out, but at the time, the logic's been sound. Add playmakers, see if Levis can be your guy. Hopkins wasn't producing. And I don't think it's his fault. I think you're going to have a lot of fantasy people out there this morning adding DeAndre Hopkins as soon as they wake up. I know I got him. But it's, you don't need him anymore. This year, I think Callahan said it straight up. This year is about seeing if Will Levis can be the guy. There are still enough offensive playmakers to see if that's the case. You have Calvin, you have Chico Conquo, you have Josh Lee, you have Tyler Boyd, you have Tony Pollard. Burks is whatever, NWI is who he is. That's enough to know, or at least have a good feel for if he's the guy or not. And frankly, look, if you weren't committed this year to figuring out if Will Levis is anything for you, we'd be talking a lot more about seriously. But if like he was the veteran and you had the young guy in the wings and the veteran was playing like that, we'd all be screaming and clamoring for the young guy to play. So keep playing him, and let him be your tank commander if that's what it comes to. Having Hopkins on that team and just taking up money and a roster spot and not getting an asset back for him wouldn't have made much sense, whether it was done now or 2 weeks to the NFL trade deadline. So doing that move, I do think makes a lot of sense for Hopkins. I was hoping a straight fourth is what you would have been able to get. I never thought a third was all that viable. But conditional fourth is fine for me. I think that's fair value. We'll see how much of the money ends up getting eaten, what those conditions are on the picks. I don't have any real updates on that front. We'll get them, I'm sure, at some point today. But in the meantime, grade this trade for me in the comments section. Let me know A, B, C, D, or F. Grade the DeAndre Hopkins trade. There's even seen reports still, as we sit here filming this, of Diana Rossini, both sides still ironing out the deal. So they're probably trying to figure out the exact compensation, like the conditions on the trade, maybe how much of the base salary Tennessee ends up eating. But look, this deal is going to go down. There's not going to be some chaotic surprise, falling apart when everyone is already reporting it. I'll make a very brief note in here as well. Doesn't sound like Levis is going to play this week. I'm just looking at my timeline with Jeremy Fowler tweeting that out 5 minutes ago, so you can figure out when exactly the timing works out here. So it'll be Mason Rudolph again, and then maybe week 9 is when he's back out there. But of course, we're on the DeAndre Hopkins trade here. I'll say this: I question if this is the last move we'll see Tennessee make in terms of selling assets. Right? You have Tyler Boyd, a veteran slot. You might want to keep him just to have some veteran presence beyond Calvin Ridley on the roster, but he could become available during the trade market. I don't know if anyone wants to go Petit Friere, but you could always try that one. Other veteran players, I would keep Sebastian Joseph. I don't necessarily want to sell off big assets on defense. I like the way the defense is played. A lot of points allowed against the Bills. Offense, do one thing in the second half, please. You can. I'm not trading away my superstars. I'm not trying to trade away, Jeffrey Simmons. I'm not trying to trade away Harold Landry. But I think with Hopkins now dealt, I think Tennessee's going to get a lot of phone calls today. Ran Carthon's going to get a lot of calls about, hey, can we trade for this guy? Can we trade for that guy? Can we trade for this guy? Can we trade for that guy? So there will be potential movement here. So I don't think Tennessee's done wheeling and dealing. So with that in mind, the final question of today's show: who will the Tennessee Titans end up trading next? Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Appreciate everyone who tuned in early this morning, and we'll see you guys again here on Titans Today.